Hello again and welcome back for part 4 of the Eanair mandala throw crochet along. For this part of the tutorial we'll be working from this white row here through to the bright blue on the last row for this part. I will just mention on some of the rows, if you want to form as I've done here the diamonds, I've done both rows in the same colour. It's entirely up to you whether you want to do that, depending on what you know, how you're using your colour theme. But if you want to have the diamond pattern, it's better to do both in the same colour, but I will mention that when we get to those rows. And we've got a little bit of detail on the corners as we progress through this part of the tutorial. So we're still using double knit yarn. I'm still using my favourite 5mm hook, and we'll start with a slip knot onto the hook as always. We're going to start with a very easy row in the the corner space here. We're going to work 2 doubles, so I'm starting with a standing double. We do 2 of those, a chain 1 and 2 more doubles. We're going to skip the first stitch, which is this first one of the previous corner there. Just zoom in slightly. It is a little bit hard to see the white against the white background. So we're going to skip the first stitch, which is this one here, and then it's just 1 double in every stitch all the way along to the very end. We don't skip the last stitch, just again do the 2 doubles with a chain and 2 doubles into the corner stitch. So I'll let you pause the video as it's just a straightforward row that we're doing, and I'll meet you when we get to the end. So once we've completed our row of just doubles, we now move on to row 31. I'm using a blue yarn for this one, and this row will be these working along. So again, we're going to start in the corner chain space and work 2 doubles, a chain 1 and 2 doubles. Now I'm going to skip 2 stitches. So we're skipping these 2 that formed the corner stitch from the last row, and we work a V-stitch into the next stitch. So the V-stitch is just a double, a chain 1 and a double. We're going to skip 2 stitches and work the next double, skip 2 and work a double. And we're just going to work this repeat all the way along the side until we get to the end, skipping 2 and working a V, skip 2 and work a V into the next stitch. So again, if you want to pause the video and work your V's along the side, at the end of the row you will have 27 V stitches, and then you'll also have the corner stitches as well. So I'll see you when we get to the end here. And the very last V will fall into the last stitch before the corner. So as long as you've got 27 V's along each side plus the corner stitches, and then just fasten off the yarn and pull through. We're now ready to work row 32. We're going to start again in the corner chain space, but instead of doing as we would normally do with the two doubles, the chain one and the two doubles, we're going to work 5 doubles into the corner space. So we'll start with a standing double and work another 4 into that same space. 3, 4 and 5. We're now going to work 3 doubles into each of the V stitches. So we skip these 2 stitches here, we go straight into the V stitch and work 3 doubles. We're just going to do that all the way along, so there will be 3 doubles in every stitch all the way along. And this is the row where we're going to carry on with the same colour if you want the V's to form on your blanket. So 3 doubles, skip the actual stitches of the V and just work the 3 doubles into each chain space that forms the top of the V stitch. So again, it's a nice easy row to work, just working those 3 doubles into every V stitch all the way along. We're going to work all the sides the same. Don't forget, in the corner we do the 5 doubles rather than having a chain space, and we're going to work into the centre double for the next corner. So again, if you want to pause the video at this point, carry on working all the way along each side with 3 doubles into every V, and then into the corner space we work 5 doubles all into that one space. So again, I'll meet you when we reach the end of this row. So I've joined into that starting stitch with a slip stitch. I'm going to snip off the yarn, even though I'm going to use the same colour because we're starting the next row in that centre double of the 5 doubles there. So we're now on to row 33. Going to start again with a slip knot. If you don't want to use the same colour, feel free to use whatever colour theme you're working with. It's only if you want the shape of the diamonds. So I'm going to start into that middle double, so it's the 3rd one along, and this time we're going to work 7 doubles into that stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we've got 7 doubles into the centre double from the last row. We're going to front post double the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. So we've now formed a new corner there. I'm going to chain 1, and then we're going to double crochet 3 together over these 3 stitches that we did into the V stitch. So we go into the stitch, pick up a loop, yarn over, but we don't finish the stitch off. We do the same again into the 2nd stitch and again into the 3rd one, yarn over and through all 3 loops at the same time. So we've worked a double crochet 3 together over 3 stitches. We're now going to chain 2. We're going to do the same over the next 3 stitches. So we do half of a double, half of a double, and half of a double, yarn over, and then pull through all 3 stitches. Chain 2, and we do the same again over the next stitch. Chain 2, and then we work 3 double crochet together over those next 3 stitches, and chain 2. And again over the next 3. So we're just going to carry on all the way along the side until you've worked 3 double crochet together over each of these 3 double crochet sets with the 2 chain in between, and I'll meet you when we get to that last double crochet 3 together on the end of the side. I'm just coming up to the last double crochet 3 together. We've got 2 chain before we do that last one. 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to chain 1 at the very end, and then we've got the 2 stitches left from the 5 doubles that formed the corner there. We're going to do a front post double around each of those 2 stitches, and then all 4 sides are worked exactly the same, so I'll let you work your other 3 sides, and I'll meet you for the start of the next row. We're just joining to that first double with a slip stitch, fasten off and pull the yarn through. We're now ready to start row 34. We're going to start just before the corner, so slip knot onto the hook, and we've got the 7 doubles that formed the corner. We've got 2 front post doubles that sit just before the corner here. We're going to front post those 2 doubles, so it's the last 2 stitches on the side before we got to the 7 doubles in the corner. So I'm going to standing front post double that first stitch, there's 1, and then again a standing double, a front post double around that next stitch. We're going to skip the next stitch, which is the first of the 7, this one here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to skip this one. We're going to work 2 popcorns into that next stitch. So it's the second stitch of the 7 that we did for the corner. So we've got 4 doubles to form the popcorn. Yarn through the first stitch to pull tight, and a chain 1 to finish. We're going to do another popcorn into that same stitch. So there's the 4 doubles. Pull the loop through the first one. So we've got 2 front post doubles, we've got 2 popcorns. I'm going to skip, I'll just chain 1 to fasten off. We're going to skip a stitch. We're now in the center stitch of those 7. So if you want to be sure, just count back 4. 1, 2, 3. We're into this center stitch here. We're going to work 2 popcorns, into that same stitch. and a chain one to fasten off. We're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to do exactly the same again into the 6th of the 7 doubles. Here we're going to work 2 popcorns into that stitch. Chain one to fasten off and then another popcorn. So in the corner we'll have 6 popcorns altogether in 3 sets of 2. So you can see there we've got the 6 popcorns. We're going to skip the last double of this corner. We're going to work a front post double around each of the front post doubles from the previous row. So the corner is the 2 doubles that are at the end of the side here. We worked 2 front post doubles, skip a stitch, 2 popcorns, skip a stitch, 2 popcorns, skip a stitch, 2 popcorns, and then we skipped that last stitch there and worked the 2 front post doubles. We're going to do a half double into the space between that last front post double and the double 3 together. So we've got a half double in that stitch. We're going to work a half double around the 3 doubles that we crocheted together, and then we're going to work 2 half doubles into the chain space. Front post half double around the 3 and then 2 half doubles into the space. We're just going to work that all the way along this side until you reach the last double 3 together, where you'll do the half double around that stitch. So I'll let you pause the video again at this point while you work your front post half double followed by the 2 half doubles into the chain space. And I'll meet you when we get back to the end of this row. When you've worked along the side and you work your front post half double around the last 3 together, you're going to work a half double into the space, and then you will be ready to start again with the pattern repeat for the corner, which is the 2 front post doubles, skip 1, 2 popcorns, skip 1, 2 popcorns, skip 1, 2 popcorns, skip 1, and then you do the 2 front post doubles, 1 half double into that first space there, a half double, a front post half double around the 3 together, and then you're ready to carry on and work the next side. So once you've completed all 4 sides, we're just going to join into that front post double with a slip stitch, pull the yarn through and fasten off. That leaves us ready for our next row. We're going to start the next row in between the first 2 popcorns that we made on the last row. And we're going to work 2 popcorns in between these first 2 popcorns. So into the space between the popcorns, we're going to start with a standing double, and that counts as the first of the 4 doubles. And then pull the loop through to form the first popcorn and chain 1 to fasten off, And then I'm going to do the second popcorn into that same space there. So we've got 2 popcorns in between the 2 popcorns there. We're going to do 1 popcorn into the next space, which is between the 2 sets of popcorns, but this time it's just the 1 popcorn that we're doing in this space. And then pull the yarn through to fasten off with a chain 1. We're going to now work into the middle space of the middle set of 2 popcorns, and in this space we're going to work 2 popcorns, chain 1 to fasten off. I'm going to do another popcorn exactly the same. We're going to chain 1 because this is going to form the new corner. We're now going to do another 2 popcorns in this same space. So if you want to just slide the 2 popcorns that you've done slightly to the right and then work the next 2 popcorns. If you're following the left-hand version, you'll be moving the popcorns to the left. So we've got a chain 1 to fasten off, and then we do the last popcorn of the corner space there. And then just pull the loop through. So we've now got 2 popcorns, 1 popcorn, and then we've got 2 popcorns, a chain 1 and 2 popcorns into that centre space. So we're going to work between the next 2 popcorns, and we're just going to again work a single popcorn. And then in the last space between the final 2 popcorns of the corner, we're going to do 2 popcorns again. And fasten off with a chain 1 to finish off the popcorn. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a chain space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 10 popcorns all together in the corner there. We're now going to move over onto the 2 front post doubles that we made in the last row. We're going to work a front post double over each of those 2 stitches. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to skip the first half double. We're now going to work 3 doubles into the front post half double. So we did a half double in the chain space. We're going to skip that stitch and work 3 doubles into the front post half double. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches. We're going to work 3 doubles into that next one. And then this row is just a repeat of what we did into these stitches here, working 3 stitches into one. We're skipping 2 stitches, we're working 3 doubles into each of the front post half doubles. And this is another row where I'm going to use the same colour for the second half of the diamond shape. So we'll be using the same colour for the next round. So we just skip the 2 stitches that sit in between the front post half doubles, and then just work 3 doubles into that front post stitch there. So if you want to carry on and work exactly the same all the way along the side, working 3 doubles into each of the front post half doubles, and I'll meet you when we get to the end. So when you've done all of the 3 doubles into the front post half doubles, I'll just do this last one here. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to skip that last half double that was in the chain space, and we're going to work a front post double around each of the next 2 stitches, and then we can join into that first popcorn with a slip stitch. And although I'm going to use the same yarn for this next stitch, I am going to snip off the yarn and start the new row with a slip knot onto the hook. So that's the corner complete. We've got the 10 popcorns with a chain 1 in between the 5. So we're now going to carry on with the same colour, but I'm going to join again with a slip knot onto the hook. So on this row again, we're going to start before the corner, so we're working on the end of the side rather than in the corner or after the corner. So before the popcorns, we've got the 2 front post doubles here, and we're going to start this row by working 2 front post doubles around these 2 stitches here. So these are the 2 front post doubles before the corner popcorns. So I'm going to do a standing front post double around that first stitch, and then a front post double around the next stitch. We're now going to work behind these popcorns that we did on the last row. We're going to work a back post single around these popcorns that we did, that in this instance are in the yellow. So to start off, we've done our 2 front post doubles. We're now going to chain 2. We're going to back post single around the second popcorn, which is the second of the 2 here. So go behind the work. We've got the second popcorn there. We're going to, oops, just get my yarn. So we're going to go behind your work. We're at the second popcorn here. We're going to do a back post single. So pick up the loop yarn over and pull through 2. These chain 2 stitches are going to sit behind your work. So we've done the back post single around the second popcorn. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do a back post single around the third popcorn. So that's the one that sits in the middle that formed the corner. So again, behind your work, pick up the loop, yarn over and through the 2 loops there. So we've now got 2 sets of chain 2 sitting behind the work. There's one, just move that out of the way, and there's 2. We're now going to work 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3. We're going to do the next back post single around the next popcorn, so it's the second of the 2 middle popcorns. So again, pick up the yarn, yarn over and through 2. We're going to do a chain 2, and then we're going to work the last back post single around this popcorn here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the 5th popcorn of the corner. So again, we'll go around the back and work a back post single. We're now going to chain 2, and we're going to skip all these green popcorns here, and we're going to work the back post, the front post doubles around these 2 doubles here. So we've worked 2 front post doubles here, and then we've gone behind, we've done 2 chain, and you can probably see better there now. We've got 2 chains, and then we did a back post single. We've got 2 chains, we did a back post single, we did 3 chain, and we do a back post single, 2 chain, a back post single, and then we've got 2 chain before we do the 2 front post doubles there. So you can see, if I show you close up, you can see where we've done the back post singles. We've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. We've got no back post singles on these first and last yellow popcorns there. So we've worked the complete corner there. All the corners will be exactly the same. So we'll now start on the side of this row. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do as we did on this row, we're going to double crochet the 3 together. So into that first stitch, into the second stitch and the third stitch, yarn over and through all 4 loops, chain 2, and then we go to the next 3 doubles, and we're going to double crochet those 3 together, chain 2, and then we're going to do the same again over the next stitch. We're just going to carry on all the way along working these diamonds again until you get to the last double 3 together on this side, and then you'll start again with the corner, and the corner will start with the 2 front post doubles, and then we do our back post singles with the chains to form the corner there. So again, if you want to pause the video at this point and work your sides and the corners. So in the corners we don't work the popcorns at all, we've just worked behind with the chains there and the back post singles. We're going to work into those chains in the next row. So I'll let you pause the video and work your sides. All the sides are exactly the same. We've got the 2 front post doubles after the corner, and then we just follow that with the double 3 together and a chain 2 in between, and just work that all the way along there until you get to the next corner. So I'll let you pause the video at this point and I'll meet you for the start of the next row. When we reach the very end of the last side, we will be joining with a slip stitch into that first standing double crochet that we did there. So the next row we're going to start again in the corner, but we're working behind the last row into the chain spaces that we created on the last row. So we're going to start in the corner space, so ignore the first 2 chain spaces. We've got the 3 chain corner that sits behind these 4 popcorns here, and into this 3 corner space we've got 2 chain spaces after the corner, we've got 2 chain spaces before, but we're going to start in this 3 chain space. We're going to work 3 trebles into this space. So I'm going to do a standing treble as the first one, but if you prefer you can work 4 chain. So yarn over twice, into the stitch, pick up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. There's the first treble. We're going to do another 2 trebles into that same space there. So I've worked 3 trebles. I'm going to chain 2. This is going to form the new corner, and in the same 3 chain space we're going to work another 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. So that's now formed the new corner that's going to sit behind these popcorns on this row. We're now going to do 2 trebles in each of the next 2 chain spaces. So again, if you just pull the popcorns forward, you can see that the next chain space is here, and that's where we're going to do the next 2 trebles. So we've got 1 and 2, and then we're going to do the next 2 trebles into that next 2 chain space. So altogether we've got 3 trebles, 2 chain, 3 trebles into the center chain space, 2 trebles in the next space, 2 trebles in the next chain space. We're now going to work a front post double over each of the front post doubles on the side. And we're not going to work the popcorns at all there. And then we're going to do a double into the space before the 3 doubles that were worked together. We're going to do a front post double around that double 3 together, and then we're going to work 2 doubles into the space. So this now forms the pattern repeat along the side, working a front post double followed by 2 doubles, front post double and the 2 doubles, a front post double and 2 doubles, and we just carry on all the way along to the end here, and I'll meet you when we get to this last stitch along the side. So each of the corners, this time we are starting in the corner space, so I'll meet you when we get round to this point here. When we've worked all the way along the side, we've done the last front post around these 3 stitches, we're going to work a double into the space, a front post double around each of the front post doubles from the previous round, and then we're going to work 2 trebles into the first 2 chain space behind the popcorns, and 2 trebles into that last 2 chain space. We can then join into the first treble with a slip stitch and fasten off the yarn. So these trebles that are behind the popcorns will be the stitches that we're going to work on the next round. So the popcorns are just going to sit on top of that corner space. So for the next round, again, we're going to start back in the corner space again, as we've done on previous rounds. We're going to work 2 doubles into that 2 chain corner between the 2 sets of trebles, chain 1, and we work another 2 doubles into that same space. We're now going to back post the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. That brings us to the 2 front post doubles that we've worked for the last few rows. We're going to work 2 front post doubles, 1 around each of those stitches, and then we're going to back post the next 80 stitches, and that will take us to the front post doubles from the last row. But if you want to just do a quick stitch count for this row, there will be 80 of these back post doubles along the side. So I'll let you work your back post doubles until you get to the 2 front post doubles from the last round, and I'll meet you at that point. When we've done our back post stitches, we've got the 2 front post from the previous row. We're going to front post those 2 stitches, and then we back post 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then we can just join into that first double of the corner with a slip stitch, tie off the yarn and fasten off. The finished blanket, although we're only on to part 4 at the moment, should come out between about 49 and 52 inches. I think a lot depends on tension and the actual yarn that's used. For this particular blanket, I've used a mixture of the Paint Box double knit and a Stylecraft special. I think it's perfectly okay to mix acrylic yarns. They all seem to be the same washing instructions, but sometimes you do find that some yarns do work up a little bit bigger than others. But for my 2 samples, I would imagine they'll come out between about 50 and 52 inch, which is a nice size as a throw for the sofa. So we're going to start on the last row for this part of the pattern, and we're going to join, as always, with a slip knot onto the hook, and we're starting in the actual corner space again. We're going to work our 2 doubles followed by a chain and then another 2 doubles, and that forms the corner for this row. We're going to skip 2 stitches. The first one's a little bit hidden. We're going to do a popcorn into that next stitch. And pull through. We're going to chain 1 to fasten off the popcorn, and then we're going to chain another chain to sit in between. We're going to skip 2 stitches and then we work another popcorn. So it's chain 1 to fasten off the popcorn and chain 1 in between. And on this row we're going to skip over the 2 front post doubles. They will actually be the 2 skipped stitches, and then the next popcorn goes into that next stitch there. It's a nice easy repeat, skipping 2 stitches and working a popcorn. We're just going to do this all the way along the side. Once you've reached the final popcorn of the side, you'll skip 2 stitches and then just join into the first of the corner doubles to fasten off. So that completes part 4 of Eanair, and I hope you will join me for part 5. I hope you've enjoyed crocheting along with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.